আসসালামু আলাইকুম, শুভ সন্ধ্যা। Atn Bangla ইউকের এখনকার আয়োজন এডুকেশন আওয়ারে আপনাদেরকে স্বাগত। আমি সিরাজুল বাসির চৌধুরী আপনাদেরকে শুভেচ্ছা জানাচ্ছি। আমরা চলে আসলাম এক সপ্তাহ পর নতুন টপিক নিয়ে কথা বলার জন্য। আমাদের আজকের টপিক আমি বলবো ভেরি ইম্পর্ট্যান্ট অ্যান্ড ভেরি স্পেশাল টপিক, ইন্টারফেথ উইক। আমি আবারও বলছি, ইন্টারফেথ উইক। সো ইন্টারফেথ উইক বলতে আমরা কী বুঝি? আমাদের রিলিজিয়ন্স, এই দেশে যে ফেথগুলো আছে, মাল্টিফেথস, অনেকে অনেক রিলিজনে বিশ্বাস করে, অনেক বড় বড় রিলিজন এখানে আছে, ছোটো রিলিজন আছে, এবং রিলিজন ছাড়াও যারা অনেকে বিশ্বাস করে না, আমরা তাদেরকে বলি হিউম্যানিস্ট অর এথিয়েস্ট। এবং রিলিজনের পাশাপাশি তারাও বাস করতেছে। এবং বিশেষ করে ইংল্যান্ডে এই সপ্তাহে ইন্টারফেথ উইক পালন করা হচ্ছে, সেলিব্রেট করা হচ্ছে, স্কুলগুলোতে অ্যাসেম্বলি হচ্ছে, কথা বলা হচ্ছে। এই রিলিজনের মধ্যে যে একটা সুসম্পর্ক এবং গুড প্র্যাকটিস যেগুলা, এই যে শেয়ার করা, এই সময়ে খুব গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। এবং স্কুলগুলোতে অ্যাসেম্বলি হচ্ছে, স্টুডেন্টরা শেয়ার করতেছে অ্যাজ এ পার্ট অফ আর কারিকুলাম, এবং বিভিন্ন জায়গায় এই বিষয়টা হচ্ছে। তো আমরা আজকে নিয়ে এসেছি চারজন, আমরা বলবো ওনারা লিডার ফ্রম ডিফারেন্ট রিলিজনস। এবং আমরা আপনারা যারা প্যারেন্টস এবং কমিউনিটি অ্যাক্টিভিস্ট এবং স্টুডেন্টস যারা ওয়াচ করতেছেন, উই অ্যাপ্রিশিয়েট if you have any query, anything, you can give phone calls, or if you have any comments about the show, please do make. Also, you can email us to Atn Bangla UK. তো আসুন তাহলে পরিচিত হই আমার সম্মানিত অতিথিদের সাথে। আজকের টপিক ইন্টারফেথ উইক। On my far right, Imam and Khatib from Lansbury Masjid, Nafais Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Nafais, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, bikhair.
Thank you very much for coming, and thank you for giving your valuable time.
It's my pleasure.
After a whole day hard work.
Of course.
And welcome to Education Hour.
MashaAllah. Thank you.
On my right, I have another guest sitting here. He is Ram Chandra Shah, Director, Vivekananda Human Center. Adab and good evening.
Namaskar. Thank you invite করার জন্য. So it is we are working all together interfaith for long time, but আজকে এখানে invite করার জন্য thank you.
খুবই আনন্দিত and really privileged to have you on the show Education Hour, and we'll be talking more about that. Thank you very much. And on my left, another very known face in the community, and I have seen many times working so hard within the faith communities and within Tower Hamlets and other parts within the community in this country. Leon Silva, President, East London Central Synagogue. Good evening.
Good evening. Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. And you have another, I would say, couple of things as well. Steering group member, Tower Hamlets Interfaith Forum. That's a very important forum. And also, you are the Jewish representative in Tower Hamlets SACRE. So SACRE stands for Standing Advisory Committee for
Council, Standing Advisory Council
for Religious Education.
That's right.
Thank you very much. I'm really privileged to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you.
And on my far left, a community leader who is sitting here. I have the privilege to introduce her, and people in Tower Hamlets and many parts in this country, they know her very well. She has been working so hard with the community, with children, with parents, with community activists. Sister Christian Frost, community leader. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Grand, thank you.
I'm really happy and privileged to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So today we have chosen this subject in our particular Education Hour show, Interfaith Week, because we are celebrating this week, whole week, in different parts of this country, this Interfaith Week. So Leon, if I come to you first, I know you have involved in SACRE, you involved in Interfaith Forum, you involved in community activities, so many things you involved in, and I met you different times, and you have been working so hard. So just for our viewers, it would be really good to know, so what is Interfaith Week?
It's a week every year, this time of year, where we celebrate our faith within the wider community. So we're actually celebrating our unity within the diversity of our different faiths, so that we live together as brothers and sisters, people of faith, and also as I couldn't understand what you were saying in
a couple of words I
but
mentioned.
I did understand where you referred also
Humanistic atheist, I
exactly,
said. Yes.
exactly. And so we extend the meaning of faith in a way during Interfaith Week beyond the dictionary definition, and it includes people's not lifestyles, people's life philosophies, even where it may be atheistic or agnostic. It doesn't mean people don't have the sets of values which they try to live by and so on. So Interfaith Week is inclusive, but it is a celebration of our diverse, but in many ways identical beliefs. We all decent people long for the same things, for good things, for peace, for good health, for a healthy, fair, loving, caring society.
Wow, that's great. Very nice way you just put that. And definitely Britain, UK is a country, I would say the most tolerant country in the world. I would say, this is what I believe in, the most multicultural and diverse country in the world. I would say, if I have to put this as diverse, I will say number one. Do you agree with me?
Yes, because London is so many faith communities living there side by side.
Yes.
And so many languages, so many
Cultures,
so many
yes.
things. So I think when anyone living their own country and coming to London,
Yes.
they're thinking this is their very important city in London.
And this
especially.
country embrace all the faiths and people without faith in a way, and people are living side by side, as Leon mentioned.
Yeah, and that is a very important week. So that when every year we celebrating from 12 to 19.
Depending
So
on
12
which
to 19
yeah.
because I think it's 11 is Remembrance Days, and after Monday to 1 week we celebrate respect them, and also side by side we respect each other.
That's very good.
And also we have to know, so we don't know who was our neighbor. So this week, every corner, different organizations celebrating this Interfaith Week
Yes.
to know each other. So all those young generation, all kind of businessmen and kind of people. So
including the schools and
including
colleges.
all those colleges and so many events going on for the whole week. And so that way, we can know each other and we can
Better.
Yes, and also because this time I think is very, very important, because we should know each other and the political, and you can see worldwide what's going on. So if we can respect each other, it will be, and we can live with harmony.
Sister Christine Frost, if I come to you, I have been seeing you since I've been working in a local school for like over 20 years. So since then I have been seeing you working so hard for this community, not only with the faith communities, with the children, with parents, with community leaders, community activists, faith, people without faith, charity work, so many things you involve in. So I know you mentioned few importance. What is the importance of this particular week, or how can you celebrate? What can we do? What we have been doing in a better way?
Well, I think it's one thing for people in government and people in higher up the ladder to be celebrating these things, but I think it's us little people on the ground that really, really matter, and it's so important for us to come together as a community, to be caring about each other. I live in a community where not really many people have cars, nobody has a garden, but what we do have is each other. And if once we lose that sense of community, I think we're going to be very, very poor, because it's community that looks after each other. Community is so important, and to me the community I live in is very multicultural, but there's so much that we share, that we have in common. There's more in common among us than what, people can concentrate on what divides you, but that's a very negative way of looking at life. I think what we need to do more is concentrate on what unites us, the common human values, caring values, because there's so much in each of our faiths that is common to all to all of us. You know, our belief in one, in God, our belief that there is someone looking after us. We are responsible to someone. We're not just free falling.
Right.
That there is someone caring for us, whatever we want to call that being, or who we want to call that being. I think I can always remember when Serbia and Bosnia were at war with each other, and the word that was used about human beings against each other was savagery.
Yes.
And I think where I live, we could become like that unless we learn as babies, from babies up, to care for each other. You know, I just don't think we can overemphasize how important that is. It's crucial to us.
That's very, very, we'll talk more. Nafaz Ahmed, Sister Christine mentioned about the importance, obviously, and she mentioned a couple of things about common values, something we have common within the faith community, the people without the faith, and that we can share and celebrate. So how do you see this?
First of all, actually, it is my pleasure, and I'm really delightful and happy here to be in a position where we four sitting together. It is very nice to me. I feel really a sort of peace in it, because after all, we all are human beings. I'm an imam of a mosque as well as khatib. I deliver lectures on Fridays, and I always feel, as a Muslim, whenever I open our books, I say, the God says, "Ta'alaw ila kalimatin sawa'in baynana wa baynakum." Come towards some common thing that is common between you and others. This is a common ground. When I open Quran, I see it's very nice. Quran is saying, "Ta'awanu 'alal birri wat taqwa wa la ta'awanu 'alal ithmi wal 'udwan." Help each other in piety, in good things. Do not help each other in bad things, evil things, to spread evil things. So here, if from the perspective of Islam, Quran didn't put any clauses, any conditions like between Muslim. No, it doesn't say amongst everyone. So I can share with you, just a few weeks back, somebody came to my mosque and knocked my door. She wasn't a Muslim. She was a non-Muslim. I don't even know her. And she said, "Can I borrow 2 chairs from here? I have an arrangement in my home and I need 2 more chairs." I was so emotional and I felt really nice. Then she felt that sort of thing. Then she's coming to mosque and she's asking for our helps. Last year we had an open day in our mosque, and I invited lots of community, normal people, residents, and they came. We sat down together, we ate, and we enjoyed it. So my understanding is every human being is a treasure of God. Every human being a huge valuable ingredient of the community.
Yes.
So it's like to neglect one person is like damaging one cell in the body. Once the cell damaged for some reason, it could cause more cells to be damaged, and the impact goes so much and so severe and so bad, then everyone has to suffer. And everyone is playing a great role to make the whole world actually together. As you mentioned in the beginning, the most diverse community, London. I would not say just diverse, I would say most diverse as well as most harmonial community.
Absolutely.
We have
Absolutely.
a really peaceful, nice, harmonial things. The interfaith dialogue, actually, there wasn't any term before, but people are now day by day understanding.
Yes.
And now we put a term. And when we talk about faith, it seems like, as Leon shared, like it seems like we excluding those who doesn't have faith. I say not to have faith is another type of faith, because it's an ideology, it's a philosophy that you want to promote, you want to live with it. You should feel free to live with your own ideology. There might be some sort of good things, and I might have some sort of good things. Unless we both sit together, we cannot share our values.
Absolutely.
And that's why it is very nice,
important.
very important.
Well said. Thank you very much. You have covered so many points. Really appreciated. প্রিয় দর্শক, আমরা কথা বলছি আমাদের টপিক ইন্টারফেথ উইক। আমরা কথা বলছি আমাদের 4 জন লিডার বলবো বিভিন্ন রিলিজিয়ন থেকে। আমাদের on my right, Nafaz Ahmed, who is representing Islam today, and Ram Chandra Shah, who is representing Hinduism today, Leon Silva, who is representing Judaism today, and Sister Christine on my far left, who is representing Christianity Today. So you can see we are covering, during the Interfaith Week, this particular session, we have 4 honorable guests with us, and we are talking about religious values in this country, and what a diverse community we are living in, and we are really celebrating, and we should be proud of that. If you have any comments or would you like to ask any question, please give a phone call or you can email to us as well. আপনারা যদি বাংলায় বলতে চান, বাংলায় কোনো প্রশ্ন করবেন, কোনো অসুবিধা নাই, ওনারা দুজন বাংলায় কথা বলতে পারেন, এবং যদি ইংলিশে বলতে চান কোনো অসুবিধা নাই, if you have any queries about that. Leon, I'll come to you. I was looking at the website of Interfaith Forum, and it says breaking down barriers, slogans, few of them, a time to make new friends. Bridges don't fall from the sky, people make them. So these are very powerful sort of, yes, definitely. But there are barriers in the community. We can see, as Imam Nafaiz Ahmed mentioned about, yes, we are learning more about Interfaith Week, but we need to see more is happening, but there are many barriers still exist in the community. So what kind of barriers can you see as a religious person, as a community leader, going around to see that as a human being, as a leader, we can work on it?
There are many things. One of the things I think that's improved greatly is we are in Tower Hamlets generally getting to know each other a lot better, getting to know our fellow communities, our sister communities, and that in itself breaks down barriers. There have been far worse things. I mean, my rabbi, for example, is a Hasidic Jew, ultra-Orthodox, beard, black hat, and so on. Now, up until several years ago, I used to have to escort him on a Sabbath as far as Bethnal Green on his walk home to Stamford Hill. It wasn't safe for him. And even when I walked with him, and this was for several years, we not often, but several times a year would be abused. And sadly, a lot of that did come from young Muslims, and it was connected also because of the Middle East. Whenever there was trouble with Israel, the Palestinians, it would affect community relations here. That has changed enormously. My rabbi still dresses the same. Now his beard is a bit more grey. His 13-year-old boy walks with him practically every week from Stamford Hill. He wouldn't take his boy with him if it wasn't safe. I don't have to escort him. Even in the Middle East, during the last Gaza war, in Britain there was an upsurge in anti-Semitic incidents. To the very best of my knowledge, that didn't happen in Tower Hamlets. There was no upsurge. Yet when you read the media, the things they write about Tower Hamlets, that it's completely run by Muslims, there are no-go areas. I mean, what absolute rubbish.
Particularly in America, when mentioned, one of the leaders, I can't remember who was it, mentioned that there's a no-go area somewhere in Tower Hamlets.
I was in America. My brother lives in New York. Unfortunately, he's very ill. And so I've been over quite a few times in the last 2 years. And I remember sitting with my brother, and we were chatting to these other people, and then somebody said to me, well, do I live in a no-go area? And my brother, who's lived in New York for about 50 years, said exactly in time with me, we both said, there are no-go areas.
Oh, that's a good thing to say. Absolutely. I mean, I know you shared 2 things from the past and now how it got better. Definitely.
It's much better.
Yes, absolutely. Ramchandra Shah, if I come to you, what Leon mentioned about there were issues, he gave practical example from his own experience, what he faced with his colleague. Now, I know we have barriers. Do you notice currently any barriers that is hindering us as a community to sort of share our faith or celebrate sort of together?
I think
things
yes.
we have common.
I think there is some barriers.
There are some barriers.
Some barriers.
Yeah. Okay.
So some barriers means so that when I think is ideology. So that means, and I think that narrow ideology. So when some people is having some brainwash without knowing anything.
Okay.
So that means some people telling. So that means from the ignorance this barrier is coming. So that means people sometimes they're thinking. So that means my religion is true, and I am the best. And if you want to realize God, only this is the only one way. That is one kind of thing going on from the long time. But I'm proud because we practice Vivekananda's and Ramakrishna's message,
Yes.
and I'm very proud to tell Vivekananda's message is first thing 1893. So we are talking about the interfaith now, and this interfaith dialogue started from 1893. So in America, Chicago, and Vivekananda was 30 years old. He came to Chicago, and every religion, so that in leader they try to prove their religion is the best, and then Swamiji was point out, so if one religion is true, then other religion is true. And because this practice by Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna was practiced in Dakshineshwar in Calcutta, and he practiced all religion, including Islam, including Hinduism. There is so many sects, so many and then Christian, Buddhism, and in Bengali, so that when we say Jotomat Totopod. So it means if you are sincere, and wherever you born, because we believe so that when I born and everyone born in particular religion, so that when we are religious, but we have to overcome, be spiritual, so that when through this religion.
Yeah.
So when we are adhatik, means spiritual, so that in that barrier it will go.
What I will do, I'm sorry about, we have to go to a short break. After the break, I will come to you too, and I have to give you more time actually to speak about this. Definitely, I'm sorry about that. Thank you very much, that's very good.
Thank you.
Okay. প্রিয় দর্শক, আমরা কথা বলছি আমাদের টপিক ইন্টারফেথ উইক। সো ইন্টারফেথ উইক ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট টপিক, অ্যান্ড আমরা সেলিব্রেট করতেছি থ্রু আউট দ্য কান্ট্রি। আমাদেরকে একটা ছোট্ট বিরতিতে যেতে হবে, বিরতির পর আবারও দেখা হচ্ছে, আমাদের সাথেই থাকবেন। My right here, Ramchandra Shah, who is the director of Vivekananda Human Center. He is representing today Hinduism. Obviously, Nafaz Ahmed is representing Islam. And on my left, another very known face in our community, Tower Hamlets community, who is the president of East London Central Synagogue and steering group group member, Tower Hamlets Interfaith Forum, and Jewish representative for Tower Hamlets Sacre, Leon Silva. Welcome back. And finally, on my far left, Sister Christine Frost, community leader and very well known in all communities in Tower Hamlets. So we are talking about Interfaith Week. If I come to you, Sister Christine, sorry I missed you. I mean, first segment I should have talked to you more about that. The change, I know you have been doing what I have seen for the last 20 years, so many what you have been doing within the community. Supporting the community. So what kind of change have you noticed since 20 years and now? I mean, in terms of the barriers, we talked about the barriers of the communities here or within the faith. There are still some, there are some, obviously. We are talking, as Leon mentioned, few years back. But do you see any positive change? Do you see anything positive we have been doing now?
Well, there are huge changes since, say, in the last 25 years. But I think the biggest barrier is ignorance.
Yeah.
If I don't know my neighbour, and I have a favourite little saying, and it takes two to tango. So if my neighbour is talking to me and trying to get through to me, but I choose not to, no matter how hard he tries, it's not going to work. So if I'm going to get to know someone, the two parties have to agree to work together. So ignorance is only dispelled if the two parties are willing to share and get to know each other. And I think that is really important and it's done in very simple ways. It's where I live, there are a lot of people from the Muslim community and every other community. And some people will say to me, "Oh, I never talked to so I don't know who next door is." And I always say to them, "Well, have you ever offered them in for a cup of tea?" "Oh no." "Well, why don't you?" Because there's nothing like a cup of tea to break down the barrier. And I think so much of what we need to do in the future is to build on that, is to make room for lots of meetings, excuses really for people to come together, whether it's over a cup of coffee, whether it's about housing, it's about gardening. We've got a brilliant project on our estate, and it's raised beds or raised beds where people can do gardening. So because they're all out in the summertime, weather permitting, they're talking to each other. So whatever they're growing, then that becomes a subject of their conversation. Someone was saying to me the other day, another good way to get people to talk to each other is having dogs, because everyone with a dog goes and walks the dog, and if you see them, then you start getting to talk to each other. Another one, of course, is a lady with a buggy with a baby, because people tend to look at each other's babies and start talking. So it's all finding little ways that bring people together, and then we talk, because I do find the barrier of ignorance is it's an invisible barrier, but it's immense, it's enormous. I've met so many people who believe all sorts of crazy things about their neighbour because maybe they're Muslim, or maybe because they're Christian, or they're Jewish, and they're listening to things that they've heard that maybe from their great-grandparents. They're myths, pure myths, they're not true. And we need to break down those barriers, and I think one of the ways is by bringing people together, maybe for something else, and then it can be over a housing meeting. I've just come from a housing meeting where we were all gathered together and realised that all the issues are common to everybody, whether it's a noisy neighbour or people spitting or people throwing things over the balcony. Doesn't matter where your neighbour comes from. You know, these are the ways where we work together and make things better. So we're all winners then.
Yes.
We all, and I believe in win-win. You know, you do things so everybody is a winner.
And you mentioned about the issues, common values, like housing issue related to
housing
everybody.
Is huge.
It's a huge problem
Huge in
within the community, and Tower Hamlets and other parts of this country as well. And you mentioned something about like someone has to try first to begin with.
Yeah, you have to be
knock
willing.
at the neighbor's door. Okay, fair enough. One day you try out. If you see something, you don't like, maybe you don't have to go like that. So you have to approach first.
Yeah.
And if you get something positive, start from there.
And there's such enormous hospitality within the Bengali community in particular. I mean, I found out to my cost. I've often been for a cup of tea and a biscuit, and I'm ready to go. And then the meal arrives, and I think, well, that's back to front. That's not the way I'm expecting it. And you realise, hey, you've only just begun. You've only just begun to taste what hospitality really means. And I think, there are these values that we need to promote and encourage, because they're so important today, because we're all so busy. We haven't time for each other. So
even occasionally, it has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Even a small celebration or a big celebration, isn't it? We have to value them. Nafaz Ahmed, I know all of us were talking about a bit of barriers and changes. Do you see any changes? I know you have been teaching in the mosque and imam. Obviously, you are leading prayers every day. You meet so many people, and definitely there are issues that probably hinders, in some ways.
First of all, I think I just want to share, I still remember Sister Christine when she arranged a meeting somewhere in Poplar with other church. I was there as well. So that was like an interfaith dialogue. I still remember, if I would be called again for that would be very nice. In terms of your things that you asked me regarding the barriers, I will see actually there is no physical barrier. There is no physical barrier existing. The barrier is in our mind. Our mind and our lack of understanding is pulling us back. That's why we cannot get each other. Number one, and there is another big barrier, and that needs to be somehow broken down. The thing is the media. I think it's a barrier, because medias are promoting lots of stuff that is not necessary. Stereotypical media promoting. Like, for example, we see evil is always evil. They should never be labeled. But we see, okay, he's a Muslim thug, he is a Hindu this, and he's a Jewish this. This sort of like anti-Semitism or Islamophobic things, these are mostly promoted by medias. And here I think there should be done something. Some good people needs to speak against this rather than label certain people for some other reasons. We should promote the good things first. Number one. Number two is another issue, interfaith dialogue. Based on what? This is the precise point that we need to find out. Otherwise, we should feel confident. Yes, I have to think my religion is the best religion. I don't see any wrong there. My fellow brother who is thinking like Hinduism is the best religion, no problem. This is his ideology, this is his thinking, his way of thinking. I should celebrate him to believe like his religion is the best one. I believe my one is the best one, but we have to understand, how should I promote my religion? How should I be open to others? As long as I'm not hurting other person's feelings,
Yes.
as long as I have concrete ground and nice way to promote things, there is no problem. Why should we feel lack of confidence? Rather, let me celebrate my diversity, my own religion. Let you celebrate your ones. As long as we know. But I think the interfaith dialogue should be based on humanitarian ground. As long as we all are human beings, we found the common issues and we get together. Like, for example, the town homeland. There are lots of problems. Like housing crisis is one of the enormous problem, as well as like anti-social stuffs happening every day. Even some certain buildings, you cannot go through it. There's bad smell there.
And this recent knife crimes,
knife crimes,
drugs,
another our youth are being diverted and their life is going damaged. That should be talked. We should talk about the people in Burma, Myanmar, what is happening. I think you all are aware of this. It's almost 1 million of people. They are completely displaced. My friend is there. I spoke to him yesterday. It's like unexplainable what is happening. Regardless of their religious stance, they are human beings. They are our moms, our daughters, our sisters, and also in various places. Even I feel proud to mention here in Bangladesh, in certain area, there were certain Hindu brothers and sisters. They were attacked for some reason. I also say, look, this also cannot be tolerated. For a peaceful community, a nice society, we want everyone to feel secure and safe. And for that, we all need to be together upon a point which is actually humanitarian.
Excellent.
Ground. And we should all together promote it.
Thank you very much. Leon Silva, if I come to, we're talking about lots of barriers. We can see there are some kind of hidden barriers. Sister Christine mentioned about the ignorance. Nafaz Ahmed mentioned about, yes, we have to find the right point there. And also, you mentioned about, how can you make it even more sort of, the diverse community, how in common issues. Now, so who can help? What can you do to overcome the situation? Whatever barriers you have still, I know, since 20 years, it's changed, as you said. It's changed a lot. There are positive, but still we can see there are issues. And sometimes, in the world, if you look at the world, when we watch the news, there are things happening. Sometimes they don't help us as well as a country. I know, we are fine probably here, but some parts of the world there are things happening, and there are extremisms, there are other issues happening around the world. It doesn't help actually, in a way. But we as community in this country, being citizen in this country, our children are growing up in this country as one community. What can we do? And how can we solve this issue or overcome from this situation?
Well, there's a number of ways. I mean, I don't think there's a magic wand that can be waved, but certainly education, certainly, as has been said, seeing the humanity in people, in some cases ignoring the beliefs and seeing the person, the human being, what we have in common. Without even getting into arguments and so on. In the Tower Hamlets Interfaith Forum, for example, it's not where we argue about each other's religions. It's not that kind of forum. We don't discuss that. And we will mention, obviously, with festivals and whatever, what we actually discuss are issues that either affect all of us or affect one group, but where others should be aware of it and can assist and so on. And also, these things filter down. So, you could argue, well, it's something like the Interfaith Forum, in a way, to use an odd term, we're preaching to the converted. It's people who believe in interfaith, and often, well, generally, sort of leaders of particular faith groups, in the area. But it does filter down. And the fact that somebody can say, oh, well, I had this very interesting discussion, and there was an imam there. I'd never met an imam before. It's quite different to what I expected. And one person will tell another and will tell another, and the next time, instead of saying a strange man, oh, what an interesting looking man, I wish I could have a chat, and what's your view on? And you're already breaking down enormous barriers.
Yes.
You know, and all our religions historically have a lot to answer for, because we have all traditionally believed we're right and you're wrong. Judaism is slightly different because we are an ethnic group, apart from being a religion. There is that difference, and we're not a missionary religion. We do believe others have their paths to God, but you don't have to be Jewish. Nevertheless, of course we think, well, ours is the perfect way rather than
That's why you,
others.
yes,
of course,
absolutely.
of course. And I don't think we'll ever really be able to get over that until one day we will all find out.
This is a good point, actually.
So that everyone has to have the open,
Yes.
Exactly.
openly talk.
Yes.
And obviously,
Yes, but to talk in friendship, you know,
Yes.
not to score points. I mean, we can in a jokey way, maybe, you know, but to respect each other, and not tolerance is in a way too weak a word. We want to get above tolerance.
Yes.
We want understanding and to share.
Yes.
We can be different, but we can still share the same things. Even with beliefs, we can share.
And also
we
when-
learn from each other.
when
also.
parents see, you know, so children see their parents are sharing things like that, as you mentioned about the cup of tea and then food and everything. The children can see, oh, someone else, not like me, not from my religion, is welcome in the house, and you can see this kind of hospitality. You know, my mom and my dad is showing. The child will learn from there. So, what do you think about this? You know, overcoming the barrier. What can
Because,
we
you
do?
know, because as we believe, so that we're not only tolerance, and
Yeah.
Vivekananda said we don't believe in only the tolerance, we accept all religion is true. And not only we talking about, we practice.
Yes.
Do you know, in modern Hinduism,
Yes.
in Ramakrishna Mission, and we so celebrate all those religions, so that when I don't think any other religion practice this way.
Mhm.
So like even we celebrate Christmas Eve, even we celebrate even Miladun Nabi, we celebrate all those things.
Yeah.
But we have to see, so that when as a Hindu, so that when we celebrate, so that when other faith even is celebrate and participate, then it will be not the one way.
Yeah.
So that mean, like when we celebrate puja or any other thing, so that when it's Muslim people coming or other faith community coming, and also so that whenever the Christian, all those Christmas Eve or anything, if they invite our children, so that means that way, so that when we
This
can
is a very
like
good-
barriers.
That's it.
So that means say even sometimes, so that when I'm sorry to say, because when I see, so that means some Muslim children in this country who are born but of here, sometimes they're telling Christmas is not our celebration, so you can't celebrate. Now I was talking to a couple of people other day, a couple of weeks ago. They said, so that when sometimes we are upset, we are tolerant, so that when we believe in unity in diversity, but sometimes so that when we have to change our Christmas card. So I said, why? So they're saying, oh, sometimes some people telling, oh, so that when you can't write it down anymore, Happy Christmas and Happy New Year, you have to say seasonal greetings. So why? So that means, you know, sometimes this conflict is bringing.
Yeah.
So that means I think we have to respect each other. So that means people is celebrating Christmas, celebrating Eid Mubarak, celebrating Diwali on Durga Puja or other faith. So that means if we can celebrate together and we can tell, as you said, so that means, so this is if you sometimes challenge. So when you're taking your children to church or temple, they're telling, so why are you taking without permission to our children? Because they're thinking, so that when you are not trying to convert them, because you try to tell them so how to respect each other.
Yes.
So to knowing, so that when as we are talking about the ignorance, so that when we can go to Muslim center, we can go to church, we can go to temple, so that way as the people in our children, next generation, so that means they can know how to respect each other. You know, so that we now we can see Diwali and all those things coming up now.
Yes.
You know, whenever the people celebrating, all those people. You know,
And
you know,
also
you mentioned, so
nationally.
that mean now I know, so that when we celebrated Durga Puja in Sanatan
I went there,
association,
I went
because
there.
I have seen you.
That's right.
Because
I met you there.
Yeah, yes, you met there, and very good things this year. So that when I met one Muslim friend to one Durga Puja. So that means they came to see. So that way, so that when we say you respect each other, it doesn't mean so that
this is a positive way of sharing things.
Sharing.
I mean, Sister Christine, if I come to you about this, because I know government initiated something since last few years. I have seen Eid in Trafalgar Square, Diwali in Trafalgar Square, and I think other couple of celebrations I have seen that. What do you think about this sort of? I mean,
And
how
Canary Wharf lights itself up
Yes.
to celebrate different faiths.
Yes.
Did you realise that? Canary Wharf Tower.
Oh, I haven't
It's
noticed
red
that.
at the moment. Yeah,
Right.
or I'm not sure, but I know it was a different colour last night
Okay.
to celebrate. But it celebrates Eid, it celebrates Christmas.
Great.
And of course, being Jewish, having been built by the what were the names of the Reitman brothers?
Yes.
Yeah, but you have a really good point on the seasonal greetings. That used to drive me crazy. A few years ago,
Yes.
Tower Hamlets College insisted on saying seasonal greetings,
No,
and I
seasonal
remember
why?
going
Why
in
not
and
Merry
saying,
Christmas, you know,
we
because
have Eid
we are very happy
Mubarak.
to say Merry
What's,
Christmas.
yeah, what's wrong
Yeah.
with Christmas?
So what is it?
So we've got over that though. That's like 5 or maybe 10 years old now. That
Yeah.
doesn't happen anymore. I think I get Eid
but
Mubarak and we get the
In my
different
company,
cards.
so when I'm sending, so I don't care because
Yeah.
I'm telling the Merry
So-
Christmas.
Sorry,
Yeah.
would you like to say something?
Yeah. I just
please.
want to share with you a few things here. Number one is we have to understand like what does religion mean? Because if we say I'm faithful to a certain religion, definitely it is divine. It came from the God. Like my brothers or sisters who believe in Hinduism, they believe according to their faith it is from the God. Right? We Muslim also believe it came from the God. And religion, every religion has certain rules and legislations and way of thinking. Look, if a religion has certain rulings like you can do this, you cannot do that, we need to show our respect towards it. We should not expect them to do our things.
Yes.
Rather, there is nothing to do with disrespect, disunity. Rather, it is the diversity, and this is what we need to understand. It is a very big problem in our community to define disrespect when somebody is not celebrating certain thing which goes against his religion. Like my fellow human brother or sister who believes in Christianity or Judaism or something else. And his religion has certain rulings like we
I have to go
cannot
to a
go
short
them.
break. After the short
Yeah.
break, I will continue.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. প্রিয় দর্শক, আমরা কথা বলছি, আমাদের টপিক হচ্ছে ইন্টারফেথ উইক। তো আমাদের একটা ছোট্ট বিরতিতে যেতে হবে। বিরতির পর আবারও দেখা হচ্ছে, আমাদের সাথেই থাকবেন। প্রিয় দর্শক, বিরতির পর আবার এডুকেশন আওয়ারে আমরা কথা বলছি। আজকের টপিক ইন্টারফেথ উইক। আমরা আগে বলেছি, এইমাত্র যারা আমাদের সাথে জয়েন করলেন, ইন্টারফেথ উইক হলো ইজ এ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট উইক ইন দিস কান্ট্রি। উই আর সেলিব্রেটিং ডিফারেন্ট ফেথস অ্যান্ড পিপল অলসো দে লিভ উইদাউট ফেথ। উই আর ট্রাইং টু ফাইন্ড দ্য কমন সর্ট অফ গোল, কমন থিংস উই আর শেয়ারিং and respecting each other, sharing things together. In schools and colleges and universities, there are many places children are taking part in assemblies, workshops, different kind of seminars, and also visiting places of worship as well. A lot of things happening. And this country is a diverse country. We live in a community and we need to show this community cohesion in a positive way in our community, so we are living side by side. So this is why this topic is very important for our children to learn about others, not only about them and only their families or only about their religions, because we have so many things we share in the same community. And one of my guests already mentioned about living a harmonious life. So this is very important. We live peacefully, side by side, celebrating each other's cultures, diversity, and promoting positive community cohesion. So আমরা যারা বাচ্চারা যারা দেখতেছে, প্যারেন্টসরা যারা দেখতেছে, আমরা চাই আপনারা এই বাচ্চাদের সাথে এগুলো শেয়ার করবেন। আমার সাথে 4 জন অতিথি, they are from 4 different faiths, they are sitting with me. On my far left, again আমি I will welcome Sister Christine Frost, community leader. On my far left, Leon Silva, who is President, East London Central Synagogue. And on my right here, Ram Chandra Shah, who is representing Hinduism here, Director Vivekananda Human Center. And on my far right here, Imam Nafaiz Ahmed Uni, Imam and Khatib, Lansbury Masjid. So I mentioned about Leon Silva, who is representing Judaism, and obviously on my left, far left, I mentioned Sister Christine, who is representing Christianity today. So we'll go back to our talk. If I come back to you again, we are talking about some solution here now during this particular week and celebrating, because I know the place I work also, we are celebrating this diversity. Children in our schools, they're visiting different places of worship. Guests and leaders are coming to deliver speeches as well as talking about their religions and how we can do this good practice sort of together and celebrating each other's cultures and religions together and finding the common goal. So how can you involve parents? I know a lot of parents, sometimes they're very busy. They will say, well, I don't have time. I'm busy. I know community activists, people like you, leaders, politicians, teachers maybe like me, we are fine. This is part of our job, probably we are doing it. But parents, they're busy with one thing, they don't have time. But how can you involve them? I mean, is there any way we can find a common thing where we can invite parents to do things?
I really don't know. The nearest I can think of is actually what you do at Mayflower when you having stalls and stands of the different religions, and that's when the parents are there.
Yes.
I mean, when I get school children visiting the synagogue,
yes,
or when I'm asked to speak inside schools, of course the parents aren't there.
Yes.
It is only the children and the teachers. So I really don't have a great involvement with parents outside the Jewish community because it's just not part of how things are done with school visits.
Okay, I was talking about during interfaith forum. You have a forum.
It is more general.
Did you have any kind of dialogues on how to involve more people? I'm not talking only parents. Involve more community people. Within this one sort of under one umbrella.
Well, the forum itself, while it represents religious organisations and groups in the borough, it is actually open to anybody who lives in Tower Hamlets. Mm-hmm. So anybody who is interested can come along.
That's
and
very good.
So that's something. Specifically with parents, I'm probably not the best person to ask.
Okay. That's fine, absolutely fine. I mean, I'm looking with what about Imam Nafas? So on that note, just can I take a call? There's a caller on the line. You're live on air at Atn Bangla. Assalamu alaikum. May I know who am I speaking to?
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Haji Shafiqul Rahman Banli
Okay,
teke. I'm a good guest with the fourth religion. One time I talk with them. My question is, if any messenger coming in this world without miracle, without hope, without from any power, not any messenger will be not in this coming in this year. So whole religion, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, Hindu, and Buddhist, Sikh, all religion knowing that Prophet, God Messenger Jesus Christ coming another 2 times is not Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, is God say in the religion book in the Quran. It is true or false? I asking both of religion is the leader. Assalamu alaikum.
I couldn't understand.
Thank you very much. I mean, I don't know what he was trying to say about the messenger. He was suggesting something. He was talking about the messenger about the Prophet, peace be upon him, and mentioned about Jesus Christ as well. I mean, thank you very much for your call. I mean, obviously we're talking about religious issues here, Interfaith Week we're talking about, and we try to promote the diversity and our common values together. That's why we are here today to show the positive community cohesion within ourselves and within our children as well, because we live in a country, and I think we mentioned that UK is, I would say, and a lot of my guests probably will agree, or most of them will agree, this is the most tolerant country in the world, and I would say the most diverse country in the universe. Sorry, I'll come to you about support. I mean, parents, how can you, and I know they're busy, but even for a small thing, how can you sort of unite them to learn about others, or maybe promote this positive community cohesion through this Interfaith Week?
I think rather than we talk about the parents are also parts and parcels of our community.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So rather than we have to fix some goals, like what could be done to bring the whole community together for positive values and ideas. So in this case, I think, first of all, as I'm an imam of a mosque, I think all the religious leaders in a certain area, they should have a seating in every year.
Yes.
otherwise even twice in a year. I would be really happy if somebody arranged for people of E14, like the church priests and the synagogues and Hindu religious, to sit down at least together, because ultimately all the faithful people or even non-faithful people, they have certain areas where they go once in a week or once in a month. If their leader preaches and share these things and promotes things, is gonna be more effective. And also one more thing, I think, look, from our mosque, Lansbury Mosque, we have arranged this sort of program like open day to invite everyone. But I was a bit disappointed, like the turnout was a bit less. But still, I hope, inshallah, in future you're gonna be more. But if somebody else instead of mosque, like for example local authorities, the mayor or the councillors.
Can I just stop you here? I know East London mosques, they are providing a lot of facilities for non-Muslims and people from other religions as well, and inviting children to go there as well. Even children from my school are going to visit there. Do you think it is appropriate for mosques as well, some bigger mosques, some mosques are very small, to provide some facilities to invite non-Muslims or people that believe in different religions to come for events where we can share something good?
It is not only fair, it is important, and mosques are trying to do it. Mosques are doing it and trying to do it more gorgeously in future, and we are doing it. But I think it's not only one part. I don't actually, that's my personal idea. I don't blame anyone for anything. I say let us together we do something. So for that, I think if the mayor, if the councillors, if the local authorities, they come together and arrange this sort of, mix ideas and sit down together, then it's going to be much more nice. Also, one more point, I already made it before, like medias. The way they are giving platform to people who are causing some destructive things to the world, killing other nonsense, even I can frankly and openly can say, the way they're promoting the ISIS nonsense evils, they're not promoting the right people like this. They're not giving space to the right people. If they give, I really appreciate Atn Bangla to arrange a program like this, and we're sitting here together and talking. If media gives more space to those people who are actually promoting the right things, then we would have seen the picture is much more changed.
That's very good.
So from the media side, from the social side, political side, from every side, we need some actions and we need to come forward.
So is there any way, what Imam Nafez Ahmed mentioned, Sister Christine, say we think about like 3 important issues we can take on board. I'm just thinking of in my head, 3 important issues we as community take on board, we can work on it. So where can we focus now? Can we focus on 3 things? Or maybe 1 thing, or maybe 2 things?
Yeah, we've mentioned housing. Housing, I think, is a huge issue that people are very frightened and scared about at the moment, because you can see everywhere these huge blocks being built, but they're not affordable, they're not socially affordable. And I know a lot of people are talking about things like gentrification. And I personally think the sort of social undercarriage, but that's the wrong term, of the city will soon be gone, because the people who sweep our streets, who look after us when we're old, who work in our schools, who work in the hospitals, they won't be able to afford to live here, so who look after us? So I think housing is a crucial thing, and I would absolutely agree with you that there should be a huge meeting of minds and hearts around housing. And then another one is poverty. There are, I don't know how many people met at the Bow Food Bank on Monday, but that's a disgrace. And I know there are food banks all over the borough now. And I know for us, our little Sunday, I think, has been designated World Day of the Poor. And I was talking to one of our youth leaders tonight, and he is spreading it out around all the youth clubs. And we're hoping on Sunday and Monday to collect hundreds of tins. We're just asking people to bring 1 tin of food, which we'll either take to Calais, and that's another Rohingya really, the hundreds of people like us who are not criminals and who are caught in Calais as migrants, and nobody wants them. And I think it's appalling this country has taken so few. I think there are a lot of big injustices that we should all be working on together. They're not unique to any one group. They're common to all of us. We're all affected by them. And that's what I would like to see, where I'd like to see our energies going. You know, and then we come together and then we begin to appreciate each other.
Yes.
And the fears,
Yeah.
because ignorance breeds fear.
Yes.
If I don't know anything about cancer, I'm going to be scared stiff. But actually, once I get to know about it, I realize that particular cancer can be beaten
Yes.
if I just do X, Y, Z. But I can just live with the fear. I can decide to stay with the fear or get over the fear.
Okay. Now, if I come to you about Ramchandra Shah, I know Sister Krishna mentioned about this housing, and also Imam mentioned about how we can sort of unite together with common issues. I mean, is there anything you can sort of highlight through this sort of today's interfaith, week?
We can do interfaith week. We can do kind of charitable work or
Charitable
maybe,
work.
yeah. So even we can do youth. Means young generation. We can bring together from all the faith community.
Yes.
And then we can talk about, so that means so
Don't
as I
you
said,
think that sometimes we have shortage of funding in this country? We have budget cut. Say youth work in Tower Hamlet, as far as I know, in many parts of this country, the budget being cut, and that's why they don't have proper youth service in places like. So a lot of time, our children, our young kids, they're outside on the street, and they are doing social activities.
Yeah.
I mean, so where can you get the funding from them?
So
if you want to organize something, how can you do that?
Sometimes, so that means you do not need a lot of funding.
Okay.
So that means, as I say, so that means your neighbor, love your neighbor, talk to your neighbor. So that means 10 people, 20 people, or maybe 50 people together.
Yes.
So that means you can bring a food, like when she's going, so that offer tea, coffee. So how much is cost? It's not cost that much. So that means from all those children, if they can organize something, so that means they can play together, Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, all those people. So that means at least they can. So therefore, you do not need a lot of fund, So local park or somewhere nearby, you can do very easy, small way, so that means you can organize, and so they can learn each other and they can respect each other. They can share the toys.
Absolutely.
They can share the food,
Toys,
chocolate, food,
I mean,
biscuit,
something
and all those things. So that thing, even so that means some people can bring tea, some people can bring cake, some people bring some other food. Then we can share, like kind of picnic or some kind of thing, in the summertime. So that way, so that when we can build up our relation, so we know how to, love each other. We know other, we can talk. So what is your religion? So what's happening? So how is your mom?
Even very
where are you
simple
going
way.
to? Even you can talk. So where are you going holiday?
Yes.
So what is doing the next summer?
Yes.
What is your children doing?
Yes.
So sometimes we talk to our neighbor early in the morning.
I think probably
so that way, so that means they know where we are going, where they are going. So that means you can say hello, good morning. So that way you can make the so that barrier,
bridge,
so that
a kind of bridge between, because Leon Silva earlier mentioned about when you sit in interfaith forum in Tower Hamlet, and I had the privilege to go there a couple of times, and they talk about a lot of different issues. Accident happens somewhere, someone being harassed. They talk about someone is getting touched with Metropolitan Police and all this kind of things.
Because Leon,
I was there, and
yes.
you are discussing. I haven't heard you discussing about Islam, what do you do? Or, you don't talk much about the religion.
Because
you talk about the
talking
issues that is affecting the community.
Because Leon and me, we also working with Metropolitan Police as an independent advisor. So there is so many issues we talk, how we can overcome and we can solve this thing,
Okay.
Yes, sure. The Bow Food Bank. I'm a trustee of the Bow Food Bank, and I'm honoured to be associated with it, but at the same time, I'm ashamed that in this day and age here in Britain that there is a need for food banks. It shouldn't be necessary.
It's the 5th largest economy in the world.
Yes, exactly. But the food bank board itself, I'm a trustee. I'm not hands-on. I attend the trustee meetings. There are others who are far more involved, dedicated people. But it includes the trustees, Roman Catholic, Church of England, Sikh, and Jewish, of course. It covers the whole range, both the people who organize it and so on. As I said, I do very little. And also the people who go there. So again, it's a way of trying to deal with a social problem, with filling a need, and people come together, not only those who are trying to help, but also those who need the help. And it becomes not exactly a social activity, but it's also a way of people getting to know each other across all different kinds of divides, ethnic, religious, social, and so on. And the most important thing is, as has been said time and again, getting to know each other. That's how barriers are broken down. We see the common humanity, and that overwhelmingly is what binds us all together.
Excellent, well said. Thank you very much, Leon Silva. We're coming towards the end of the program. I will take your final remark from all of you. If I start off with you first, if we say any good tips or any good advice to our viewers, those that are watching program tonight, there might be young guests, or sorry, young people, there might be parents, there might be community leaders. So just, within 30-40 seconds, please.
We can say lots of things, but I just want to say one word.
Yeah.
Knock your neighbor.
Yes.
And say hello to them. Invite them sometime for the tea, or you expect them to invite you. How you gonna expect? Because you deal such a way, then he would be or she will tell you someday to go there. So knock your neighbor, always knock, say hello to them.
This is very good. Well done. Sister Christine, I know you have been doing so much work in the community, countless. But I would say with different people, children, adults, youth work, you have been doing charity work, you have been doing religious work, you have been doing so many things. So what would be your last advice and tips to our viewers?
My advice is very similar. I mean, it is, do you know who your neighbour is? Because whether you're in a block of flats or, one of these upright ones that you never see anybody, or you're lucky enough to live where there's a landing and you meet your neighbour. Do you know who your neighbours are? Just promise in the next week that you'll make that effort. You'll go and knock on a neighbour and just say, how are you? Christmas is coming, winter is coming. How many older, lonely, isolated people are there? Because there's a huge sense of anonymity in this marvellous city. A lot of people, it is also a very lonely place for younger and older people.
Thank you. And within 20 seconds.
Yes, Hinduism is saying Vasudeva Kutumbaka, the world is the one family.
Yes.
So try to practice in your life, so that when you talk to your neighbor, love your neighbor, so have a cup of tea and you offer a cup of tea, and that way, so that when
Thank you very much, Leon Silva. Your final thoughts and any remarks?
Be friendly to your neighbors, try and get to know your neighbors, and as it says in the Talmud, do not judge your neighbor until you are come into his place. We don't know what makes other people get to behave in a way we may not approve of. If we had their experiences, we might be the same. So we shouldn't be judgmental.
Thank you very much, Leon Silva. Thank you very much, Imam Nafais Ahmed, who represented Islam today. Ramchandra Shah, Director, you represented Hinduism. Leon Silva, you represented Judaism. And Sister Christine, you represent Christianity. দর্শক, আমরা কথা বললাম, আমাদের টপিক ছিল ইন্টারফেইথ উইক। আপনাদেরকে প্রোগ্রাম দেখার জন্য ধন্যবাদ। আগামী প্রোগ্রাম থেকে আমন্ত্রণ জানিয়ে আমরা বিদায় নিচ্ছি। ভালো থাকবেন, সুন্দর থাকবেন। আসসালামু আলাইকুম, শুভরাত্রি।